Hey folks, what's going on? Shadow Stars bringing you another video. Today I'm going to be providing you guys with an AMC update. And really, in regards to that update, it's more along the lines of the box office figures. So for the new folks here, what I do on this channel, I like to bring perspective, full context. I like to bring facts, figures, statistics, stuff that you all can access, that you all can see, and you all can check. Verify. I don't give you hopium. I don't mislead you. I don't cherry pick figures. I'm not a grifter. I don't provide you false information. All the information I show you, you can see exactly where to get it. This website, boxofficemojo.com by IMDb Pro. Everyone can access it. It's a free website. So what you have here, daily box office figures domestically. So we see the update for Thursday. Right here is the December monthly figures, quarterly figures. Now what I do is I feed that all into an Excel sheet here. Let me zoom out a little bit here. So what I have here, I just recently added this because I'm going to be expanding this to 2023. But the current focus is, hey, let's give you the update for 2022. Q4, 1.7 billion, right? What I'm telling you is this is not misleading. This is not false information. This is information I'm pulling all from this website. I can tell you, hey, look at 2020 figures. Q4, 1.7. You have now 2 days left. There we go. Like update the figures. 1.7 bill for Q4. How's that compared to the same quarter, same period last year? Last year did over 2 billion. Look at previous quarter, Q3, Q2. Now, to put into perspective, remember that Q2 and Q3, Q2 and Q4 are usually your big hitters. Q1 and Q3 are usually your slower quarters. Now, I'll show you. The data will show you. I'm not lying. I'm not making any of this stuff up. These are all figures I pulled from the SEC Edgar website, AMC's official 10K and 10Q filings. You can go double check them. For example, let's look at attendance figures. This is pre-pandemic 2018. What two quarters have the highest attendance? What two quarters have the highest revenue? Q2, Q4. 2019, Q2, Q4. How's Q1 and Q3? How's Q1 and Q3? Lower than Q2 and Q4. So there's nothing misleading, nothing false that I'm stating about these figures. These figures are what they are. If this website is reporting them wrong, they're reporting it wrong. All I'm doing is I'm grabbing that same data from whatever source they're getting it from. I'm relying them as a source, and I'm showing you, hey, look, this figure is either lower or higher. 1.7 is lower than 2.0 billion. 1.7 is less than 1.9, less than 2.3. So, for all the hype, December is looking pretty flat. We have 2 days left in the month, and what? It has the ability. I'll bet. If you look at the data, I go based off the data. Top 10 gross, past couple days, you're averaging, let's say, mid-30s, 30 mil a day. So you had 2 days, you're going into a Friday, Saturday, you would expect that, hey, going to the weekend, they're a lot busier. I'd have to go through previous year's data and see, hey, you know what? How does the last 2 days fare versus the other days leading up to it? How does the holiday, New Year's holiday, affect this? Does it get a bump in it, or does it get a decrease in it? A bump down, a bump up? Is it par for the course, just normal? I don't know. But I go off what the data tells me. I look at the figures and then I'll analyze it. But nonetheless, if we go off just what past 4 days have been saying, using a rough average, let's say 35,000, or not 35,000, 35 mil, okay, December is going to be higher than November by just barely. But guess what? Compared to your heydays, not that good. Compared to these 3 heydays, not so great. You are expecting Q4 to absolutely smash it out of the park, to beat Q3. But unfortunately, Q4 is lagging far behind Q3. So my projection was, hey, we'd end the quarter at 1.9 billion. That was my projection. I revised this a couple times as new information came in. My initial projection back in November, early November, was 2.1. And as I get close, as I got more and more information, I had to revise it down. I thought that, hey, you know what? You'd get a bit of a bump going pre Christmas and post Christmas, but that bump wasn't there. The reception just wasn't strong enough domestically. Add in that, hey, you know what? In the U.S., there was that big storm that came through this past week. So that might have depressed maybe 2 to 3 days of people from going. But nonetheless, that still doesn't explain, hey, look at how far below it is Q3's figures and even last year. And this is with what everyone was hyping, Avatar, Wakanda. They're hyping it all up. But guess what? Numbers do not lie. So now, for my projections going on, what I'm going to be doing is, what I have here is I've built another table here. This is domestic box office gross here at the top. And I've grabbed the information from 10Qs, AMC's official SEC 10Q filings. This is for just their domestic. And we can see how the performance translates. So I'm going to be doing a model more specifically on for Q4. We still got like a month and a half before AMC is going to report their Q4 and fiscal year 2020 earnings. But nonetheless, we'll have all the box office information way before that their earnings call and their earnings release. But nonetheless, I'll be building this model out, building up, doing the calculations based on the performance. So I'll build one out for the domestic, and then I'll build it together because AMC is not a chain that has just domestic theaters or theaters domestically. They got theaters over the world. And I'll say that, hey, in their international markets, they have theaters in the United Kingdom, Germany, Spain, Italy, Ireland, Portugal, Sweden, Finland, Norway, Denmark, and Saudi Arabia. But you won't find that, hey, do they have theaters in China? Do they have theaters in Korea, Japan, Australia, India? Some of those are large markets. Do they have theaters there? No. And this is the type of stuff I like to present. I like to provide full context. When you pull up, oh, Avatar, Way of Water, over 1 billion worldwide. Where's the context? You say that, hey, Avatar is doing great. 1.1 billion worldwide. 810 million international. What's the revenue split on that? How much money, how much revenue do they generate from internationally? Do you know? How's their profit margins look like? And more importantly, as I mentioned, where are those sales coming from? Are those from other large markets that AMC is not a part of? Context. That's important. You can hype it up as, oh, look at that, billions and billions of dollars are going to movie theaters. Yeah, they're going to movie theaters, but is it going to AMC? That's the important part. For all the folks that push AMC, it does you no good where if your movie theaters, if those tickets are not being sold in here, they're not going to do you any good. It doesn't matter if it does 2 billion, 3 billion. If they're being done in countries where you don't have your theaters, then that doesn't help you. So let's think logically, let's think rationally. Let's be critical thinkers. Don't be sheep. And then furthermore, what I'm going to do is, there's this website called boxofficepro.com. They do projections on movies. They've been doing this for quite some time. So what you can do is, hey, look at all their movie releases that's coming out next month, because I'll be continuing to do this. For example, what I have been doing is I've been looking at, hey, what's the releases for next quarter? Next month, what sort of hits are coming out? What are the big blockbuster movies that are coming out for the next quarter in Q1? How's that going to line up with what AMC did Q1 pre-pandemic? How much of a recovery is there? Obviously, Q1 2021, a lot of places were still closed, so didn't do well. But how much of a recovery is there? What's the gap between 2023 January and 2019 January? How much of a recovery can you expect the box office to do? That's important, because this is important. What's your net loss? What's your net earnings? What's your EBITDA? What is your cash on hand and your cash equivalents? How much cash does your company have? If your company is burning hundreds of millions of dollars each quarter, do you have enough cash to survive? How many quarters before company goes bankrupt or has to declare bankruptcy because it doesn't have the money coming in? How much of that is from your corporate borrowings? How much is it in your debt payments, your interest payments? When are your debts due? All this stuff, all this is very important. It's important to understand the financials of a company. I'm not going to deal with tinfoil hats of, oh, naked shorts, oh, synthetic shares, oh, tokenized securities, tokenized stocks, tokenized blah, blah, blah. FTDs, T plus 35, T90. No, I don't give a crap about any of that nonsense. What I care about is, hey, these are provable figures. You can grab them right from the SEC website. 10 Qs, 10 Ks. Qs are for quarters, Ks are for the annuals, for the yearlies. That's what AMC submits to the SEC. Those are audited reports. So you have an accounting firm that goes through, audits all that. It's important. These are facts and figures that you can rely upon. Sure, could there be mistakes in their reporting? It could, but hey, those are mistakes then that weren't caught by an accounting firm, that weren't caught internally by AMC. You can be paranoid and, oh, you know what? I don't rely on any information. Well, then how are you going to base any of your decisions? What I choose to do is I choose to rely on fairly reputable sources. Sources that you can trust, sources you can rely on, sources that have some sort of trust, reliability, something you can really base stuff on. The SEC filings, I think, is a great way to start because it's open for everyone to see. So what I plan to do is, hey, as I mentioned, we got all these different videos or movies, and some of these have all sorts of different projections. If you go through, there's tons of other articles that they'll give their projections. And I'm going to incorporate that into the estimates. When I do these monthly breakdowns, I'm going to look into them. Furthermore, previous movies, if they're sequels, prequels related to their franchise, what I can do is I can look at their previous performance. I can see, hey, Magic Mike's Last Dance coming in February 10th. Well, guess what? Magic Mike XXL came out 2015. How did that do in 30 days? Ant-Man. New Ant-Man coming out on this February 17th. Well, Ant-Man came out 2018. That one. How did it do in 30 days? I can pull up information. I can see, hey, past performance, how did it do? Then from there, I can give ranges of, hey, you know what? Will it outperform? Will it underperform? You have a baseline figure to go off of. You don't just randomly throw darts at a freaking board with numbers on it and say, oh, you know what? It's going to do that much. It's going to improve by that much. No, you can base it on past performance. It doesn't mean that, hey, it'll line up exactly. It could do better. It could do worse. It could be the same. But nonetheless, you have some sort of logical, reasonable baseline of where to start. And that's the type of stuff I do. That's the type of analysis. That's the type of information. That's the type of work that I do and try to provide to everyone. It's being logical. It's being reasonable. So we'll see. From there then, once again, we can extrapolate. We can start doing modeling and projections of, hey, you know what? How's quarter one going to do? If January, February, March do this, or if the movies are, if Hollywood and so forth, critics and so forth, people in the industry, in the movie industry, they're expecting, hey, those movies are going to do that much. Plug them in. Then what's going to be Q1 2023 box office domestic? Is it going to be greater than 1.3 billion? Is it going to be under 2.4 billion? Is it going to match 2.4 billion? Is it going to be even greater than 2.4 billion? You could see it. And movie releases coming out this year, sure, not everything is known. We don't know the exact release dates for every single movie, but the first couple months, you have a pretty good idea of what movies are coming out. Movies aren't made in a month. These big movies, they're not made in a month. From beginning to the end, they can take as long as 4 to 5 years. Adam Aaron even said, and I've stated in my videos multiple times, he's saying that, hey, average 2 to 3 years. They expect 2023 to be better than 2022, but how much? How much is the recovery? Is it enough to where their financials will support it? Is it enough? The first 3 quarters of the year that we have official figures for, they were burning on average 200 plus mil a quarter. And they had $684 million cash and cash equivalents. If you're burning 220 plus million, you have enough cash for 3 quarters. Except for the fact that, hey, if you read the financial filings, you know that, hey, AMC has a debt covenant where they need to maintain a minimum $100 million of liquidity. So guess what? If they're burning 220 mil a quarter, they'll breach that debt covenant. So what does that mean? They need to raise more money. So we have news that you can consider. Ape selling. Look at what the at the market program did for Ape. You can look at, how much money did they spend on buying their debt at a discount? How much money did they get from selling APE shares to Antara Capital? All this is very relevant and important information, stuff that you should know. But you can choose to put your head in the sand. You can choose to ignore this information. But I don't think that's going to do you any good. But to each their own. But what I do on this channel is provide information and sources of where you can grab that information, because I want you to verify my information. I want you to hold me accountable, just like I will hold you accountable. And the last thing, I want to cover this guy here. I've been clowning on this guy, this Avi Harkishun. I don't know how to pronounce it. I apologize for mispronouncing the name. Did my best. So I'll just say Avi. And his little forecasting model. The hilarious thing about this model, and look at how much it has changed. I mentioned this on my Twitter because this guy made this model between November 8th and November 13th. He did this because he made it in between that time, or at least finalized it and shared it during that time, because he grabbed the final Q3 earnings results, and he shared this on a YouTube video with an AMC grifter and fraud, Al from Boston. The hilarious thing about this modeling, I've pointed this out in my dedicated video to him, but look at the way he projects AMC's growth. He was saying projected revenue of $1.36 billion. All of a sudden, 1.36, with projected box office to do 2.4 billion for the quarter. And you know what? Box office is going to do $8.5 billion for the whole year. He has these random calculations based on the data he had early November. And what I did was, he kept on pushing this coming into December. And what I did was, I called him out on it. I said, there's no way you could be accurate with that information. There's no way that modeling will hold true. I called him out. In my tweet, I did this on December the 6th. He had a month's worth of new data. He didn't update his model. But he kept on pushing it. That model was tracking to be extremely wrong. But okay, fine. You won't know until the very end. But what did he say? In one of the replies, he said, "Oh, there's lagging Q4 performance compared to the model. I will not update this model until the close of Q4 box office performance." But look at it. Today, 4:38 p.m., he updates his model. But wait. You said that you will not update this model until the close of Q4 box office performance. You have 2 more days of box office performance. Right? You have Friday. You have Saturday. You have 2 days left. But you already did your update. So much for not updating until the close of Q4. And I'll even admit, this data here from box office, you'll have some minor updates a couple days after. I'm sure that there might be minor data lag from a couple theaters. Majority of it's going to be accurate. You'll have a slightly difference, but you know what? He said that he wouldn't update until the end. So I would say that, hey, I would have waited till January 3rd, January 4th before doing the full update, because by then you should have all the information. But nope, December 30th. Gotta pump out that info. Gotta pump out these tweets. Gotta pump out the hype. I gotta get those. Gotta get that attention. I gotta get Adam Aaron to follow me. Which Adam Aaron eventually did end up following him. But the hilarious thing is, 1.36 billion was his first forecast. Now he's projecting 873.9 million. Wow, what a change. You're saying that nearly 500 million less. You're projecting box office of 1.74 billion. So based on current trend, 1.47, probably a little, I would say pretty close. I think that the next 2 days will probably have closer to as I said, 35 million, right, on average? So you'll have 70 million. So I'd say 1.77. But this guy, he's a cheerleader for AMC. He's the ultimate perma bull for AMC. But look at how far he lowered his forecasts. I just find it absolutely hilarious. And then what? AMC needs to raise additional capital by Q2 2023. So, based on this, you're saying that, hey, projected net loss, 180 million. You have projected net loss for all of 2023 as 445 million. Oh, look, he finally revised that. Projected box office for next year is going to be 8.4 million. He was forecasting 10.2, sorry, not 8.4 million, 8.4 billion, right? 2023. Oh, it was 10.2 billion. Now it's down to 8.4 billion. Look at how off he was. Because this guy is just throwing numbers at a dartboard. And he's like, oh, yeah, you know what? Just pencil in 20%. Oh, pencil in 30%. Pencil in 50%. His forecasting model is absolute trash. It's garbage. Because I don't see him doing the stuff that I do. Are you pulling figures daily? Are you looking at movies? What industry critics are saying? What people in the industry are saying? What their projections are? What the studios are expecting? Is he looking at the data closely? Or is he looking at past performance? I don't see any of that stuff that being incorporated into a supposed model. With a company that's going to burn a total of 445 million for the whole year. If AMC ended the quarter at 684 million, for the whole year they're going to burn 445 million, meaning they're over the $100 million minimum threshold. But why are you saying that, hey, you know what? They need to raise additional capital by Q2. By Q2. Where's your logic? Where's your reasoning? Where's the math on this? If the company is only going to lose, on average, let's just say, let's do the math. 445 divided by 4. 111 million a quarter. They have over 684 million as of Q3. 111 mil gone, that for factoring Q1. Let's say they even factor in the same bad performance of Q4 as another 226. That's still above to the minimum of 100 million, above 200 million. Why do you need to raise by Q2? That's why I like to call bullshit. Because people like him, I don't see the logic. I don't see the critical thinking. I don't see how the math adds up. Because it doesn't look like they're really doing anything. They're not doing reasonable calculations. There's no logic behind it. It's just hopium and random shit. And then he goes on this massive blah 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 blah. But I can never take this guy seriously now. Because I saw his modeling. I saw that how his modeling lacked going through the figures on a monthly basis. I see that his modeling lacked to really dig into the financials. He presents it in a way, oh look at all this. He presents the assets, the cash burn, the projected revenue. He's not looking at profit margins of tickets, concessions. How's the attendance looking at? What's the average spending per patron? All those calculations missing from his financial forecasting model. And this guy is what? He's a financial professional. This is what a financial professional can do? That's all he can do? And you're going to trust this guy? No. This guy is an absolute grifter. Look at how he pumps. Oh, hey, buy merch, sign up for their credit card, buy their popcorn, etc. He's basically a person who's seeking attention. He wanted that limelight. He wanted his 5 minutes of fame. Finally, Adam Aron followed him. And he wanted all the attention that these apes and all these hopeless AMC folks give to those who pump up ape, who provide hopium, that provide no context, just only tidbits of stuff that could be skewed whichever way. And on my channel list, I'll continue to point out the bullshit. I have my own personal thoughts of how I think this will go. But I don't tell you to do what. I don't tell you to buy. I don't tell you to sell. What I do is I present the information to you. I pull, as I said, official filings, SEC filings. All I do is grab that same information, paste it into my Excel sheets. I grab domestic box office figures, daily figures, monthly, quarterly, yearly figures. I look at I compare them. I look at them. I look at, how did movies do in a specific month? What were they grossing? How many theaters were they shown at? I look at, first day, first weekend, first week. Do the breakdowns. I'll look at previous movies, sequels, prequels. Look at how did they perform. All my information, all my reasoning, all the data I present to you, publicly accessible. It's free. You can do it yourself. I want you to double check my figures and then come to your own conclusion. I provide information, true information, not cherry-picked information. I try to provide the whole context. And I'll try to dig down into it to provide you some better analysis. I'll dig into, you can look at you can look at different quarters, you can look at the year, you can look at several quarters previously, pre-pandemic, post-pandemic. You can look at how, domestically versus international and total. I do all this breakdown. But hey, you know what? You get these retards that think, oh, where'd it go? You got what? Where is it? Oh, I'll call this guy out first. This Scott Hootera, whatever. Guy that thinks, oh, I presented my box office information. He thinks I'm saying that, oh, hey, you know what? 2022 is less than 2021. Absolute dumbass. And then, hey, when I come back, I ask him, hey, you read that Ford purchasing agreement with Antera? Can you tell me the lockup period of the agreement? Can you tell me the restrictions in regards that AMC has for their sale of Ape because of that agreement? What restrictions are there on Antera because of this deal? Can you tell me any of that? Pull up their 10Q filings, present that, ask them, hey, you know this stuff? Do you know their cash flow? Do you know their burn rate? How much money are they burning to debt payments? Absolute silence. All they can do is, oh, call me an idiot. Clown emojis. Oh, how many movies were there in 2022 versus 2021? Oh, 23 will be more than 22. More movies will be released next year. You'll see lack of details. How many more? Approximately how many more? No comments. Tell me, how many more big blockbusters? How many more movies are being pushed out by the big production studios? Can you tell me that? No details. All he says is, moron. Fundamentals will greatly improve. Shorts will be forced to close their position when bankruptcy is off the table. I fail to see where he backs that up with evidence. He's not telling me anything about their cash flow, their cash burn, their net loss, how much money that they're holding on to, how many more quarters that will last. Doesn't tell me anything about the deal with Antera. These are the clowns. These are the folks, these are the apes pushing, pumping AMC. You got this person, Perfume U. AMC, GME, HYMC, sharing a little DD with a touch of ADD. No, you're just absolutely mentally disabled. You have a mental disability. You can't seem to read, think logically, or critically. Ignorance is trolling and trying to manipulate someone's investment choice. Did I ever tell anyone to buy? Did I tell anyone ever to sell? No. I present to you information. It is up to you what you choose to do with that. But I don't cherry pick that information. And you're saying it's stock manipulation. I already told you I hold no position in this company, AMC. I have no shares. I have no puts. I have no longs. I have no shorts, etc. I have absolutely no position in AMC. No one in my family, direct family, parents, siblings, none of them have a position in AMC. You can ask my friends. I have never told them in the recent times to ever buy AMC. I've never given them financial advice. I've never told them what to buy, what to sell. None of that. I am making no gains. I'm not spreading misinformation. I'm not cherry picking information. I'm not grifting off of the AMC folks. I'm just presenting the direct information, the truth, the facts, the figures, the stats. But oh, you call that manipulation, and now you're going to false report me for it. These are your apes. You're sharing DD. What DD are you doing? The DD you see off Reddit saying, oh, AMC to the moon. Yeah, that's the DD. The DD's been done. There's no more DD to do. Are you in that camp? You refuse to look at the information, the new data that comes out every day. You refuse to look at how the box office does. You refuse to acknowledge it. All because it doesn't fit your narrative. What an absolute joke. Those are the clowns. And then you'll cry about, hey, I'm losing money on my investment. Well, I wonder why. You didn't do all this in-depth research. This is what DD is. This is just a portion of what you should be doing. If you don't understand any of this, you don't understand any of their financials, why are you investing in them? Why are you investing in a particular stock? You're investing it based on the hype, based on word of mouth, based on what you've heard from folks, whether that's a YouTuber or Reddit, a person on Reddit, on Twitter, etc. You didn't verify their information. So basically you got had. You got left holding the bag. While sad that you lost money, you could have prevented that. You should be doing your own research. You should be looking to verify if that research is correct. See if you can collaborate and corroborate your findings with others. Don't be like an ostrich just shoving your head in the sand. We're plugging your ears, putting your fingers in your ears and screaming la 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 la. Not trying to listen to any other perspectives because it doesn't present a bullish scenario for your company. Be open to hearing all perspectives, provided that they have facts behind them, evidence that you can reference to, not tinfoil hat theories. Stuff like SEC filings, stuff that you can rely upon. But that's just me. I think that's a smarter way to do things. If you think that it's better to go on Reddit, go on YouTube, go on Twitter, listen to those grifters like Trade Trades, Matt Kors, Mask Investor, Common Sense Investor, AMC Bigham's Boss Blunts, Al from Boston, Avi, blah, 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 blah. All Astro, all those other folks. BAM Investor, User of Intellect, all those other folks. You think they're better sources. You think they do their research. You've supposedly verified their information, their sources. You can corroborate it all. Okay, go ahead. I got no problems. But interestingly, their information will never match up with the information I pull. It'll never match up with the information I pull from SEC filings, from box office figures. Never matches. And do you see their source of information? Do you see how they're reaching their conclusions? No. So what does that tell you? So I apologize, everyone. Video super long. It is what it is. I got into one of my little talking points and I kept on going on. But once again, hope you guys enjoyed. Hope you guys enjoy the fact that, hey, you know what? I'm calling out these absolute frauds, these grifters, these folks looking to cherry pick information, to confuse, they're the ones manipulating other retail investors. I like to call them out. There's not enough hours, there's not enough time in the day to be calling all of them out. So I'll only call out what pops through my feed, what people tell me about, talk to me about. You want me to cover someone? Let me know down below. Comment down below. Tell me, what's the next grifter that I should be calling out? Or this next person? You want me to give you an opinion on them? I'll go watch their stuff and I'll see. I'll fact check them. Are they correct? Are they telling the right information? I'll look into their source. Is their source credible? Is a credible source of information? But you know what? Please, if you like the content, let me know. Like, subscribe, share the content with others so that, hey, you know what? The people who are being fooled, maybe they'll be able to see this information. Maybe they'll finally get, hey, instead of this little breadcrumb of information that they're getting from those grifters, they'll see the whole picture. They'll see the whole map. They're not going to get one little puzzle piece out of that 1,000-piece puzzle. Instead of one piece, they'll get all 1,000. They'll see the whole picture. So, hey, you know what? They can see where the information's at, and they can make their own analysis with their eyes fully opened. They can see all the information in front of them. When you only have one little piece of the puzzle, your decision making might not be the same as opposed to if you had the full map, the full puzzle. If you had all 1,000 pieces, it might not be the same. But nonetheless, I'm not telling you what to do. I'm not telling you what to do, what not to do. I'm just presenting you the information. Do with it what you will. Until next time, folks, this is Shadow Stars. Take care.